Hello, everybody. Hope you're doing well today. This is my final live chat for the foreseeable future. I don't know if I'm going to come back. We'll have to see. But the reason for this is there's many reasons, but I'm taking things in a new direction and I'm going to be moving my time more focused on some more creative content for YouTube. So I'm not leaving YouTube, but I'm not doing the live chats. I feel like the engagement is not growing, and so there's a lot of other reasons too. But for the most part, I think that my time could be better spent making some creative content for you, and hopefully you like what I create for you. So if you haven't noticed, I have other social media channels. I have Instagram, TikTok, and Twitter. Instagram and TikTok, I share these new videos. There's short clips on both. And sometimes I do still images or cards on Instagram, and I share some of the videos through Twitter, but Twitter can only take so long of a video, so it's limited. I was more active on Twitter for some time, but I find that Twitter is a little bit rooted in like conspiracy theory think. Maybe that's just the bulk of my feed. I don't know. It's what I'm seeing. I did change my feed some time ago to more consciousness focused content. And so like I just wasn't vibing Twitter anymore. Didn't really like it so much. Hi everybody. Hi, say hi in the chat if you're here. I'd love to know you're here. Hi Wookie. Thank you for all your work and great content these years. Thanks, Anna. Nice to hear from you. I think it's the first time you've commented. But yeah, like I said, I'm not leaving YouTube. I'm just not doing live chats anymore. Let me just put some lipstick on because I'm seeing the lip liner I had on earlier, and I just had lunch. So my apologies. But yeah, say hi if you're here. So yeah, I'm not leaving YouTube. I'm just gonna do different stuff. But yeah, big changes. If you haven't heard too, my existing membership structure is going to be finished as of August 12th, and my new membership structure has already been opened. It's called the Labyrinth, and everything is going to be housed inside the Labyrinth. There's going to be some major changes coming. I canceled the newsletter. The newsletter is no longer active. Final issue went out on the 1st of August. If you're in Discord and either not a member in the past or even presently, or if your membership terminates or ends as a result of this switch, it's going to be just members only in Discord. So massive changes. Basically, everything is going to be housed inside the Labyrinth, and my content on social media and everything is going to change. It's going to be more elevated, more creative, more focused on, I guess, decodes. But I'm still going to have the podcast for now. I'm not sure yet what I'm going to be doing with the podcast that comes out every 2 weeks. If you're not yet subscribed to the podcast, there should be links in the description box. So yeah, massive changes because I need to structure so that I have more time to devote to growing my channel, but also in the right areas of focus and bigger projects that are coming. The last several, for those of you who are not members, the last several months, I've had some massive revelations come through with my decoding, with the videos I've been delivering for my members, and had vision of what is to come and what I've been called to do. And this has led to, well, basically everything I'm doing now. And I still don't really know what's going on. So, um, but it's exciting and it's interesting, and it's all unfolding wonderfully, even sometimes scary. Most of the time scary, but I know it's something I have to do, and is going to lead to bigger and better things. There's a lot of depth to the videos I've been showing for my members lately, that I'm seeing so much more, and there's so much more that I want to explore. So this is going to be able to give me the flexibility and the time to be able to do that, be digging into deeper, richer projects, kind of along the lines of like the Johnny Depp exploration. But because like Johnny Depp, that project took me 2 years to complete, and I don't want it to take that long to do projects. I want to be able to focus on those projects in an intense manner so that I can, bundle it, package it up, and present it in a timely fashion. And there's certain things that I have wanted to get to, I haven't been able to get to. Um, and I don't know that I will be able to get to those particular things or not, but they're on my list of things I want to do. So there's a lot of other reasons why I have made this change, and it's an exciting change. It's a necessary change for everybody, for myself, for my members, for the content, and it is going to bring about some wonderful, powerful, enriching insights and experiences and revelations for everybody involved. So whether you're, um, obviously more so for my members, but even for my viewers, there's going to be some interesting things coming. So look forward to that. Um, Hi, John. Always interesting talk. Thank you. Hi, Coco. So yeah, that's basically what's coming. And I decided that I was going to finish up the live chat. So I figured, well, I might as well do that right away, because um, next week is the what is it, the 10th. So that's like the last day before my existing membership closes, and then I'll be taking a couple of weeks break. So I figured, well, I've made this decision, I might as well do it now. So I want to say, first of all, thank you so much for everybody who has participated. Excuse the traffic. Yeah, everybody who's participated, and everybody who has particularly participated in the live chats over the last little while, however long I've been doing this. Like I said, I don't know if I'm going to come back, and I don't know when, or so this very well could be the last ever, but I don't know. We'll have to see. But who knows? I might just pop up spontaneously and say hi. So anyway, I want to thank you for participating. I want to thank you for the conversations we've had and the insights you've shared. And so I hope that you'll continue to share them in the comments. And I'll be posting in the community posts, as well as sharing videos. And these are going to be, I guess, like more along the lines of like the music videos that I do, as well as story of your life type videos. I've missed not having the time to do those sorts of videos. And there's a lot of revelations and visuals dancing around my head that I want to put together in a video for you. So yeah, those are going to be my primary focus. So yeah, that's basically what I wanted to say regarding that issue. But if you have any comments, questions, or anything you want to talk about specifically today, now's your time to do it. And other than that, we can talk about like this bizarre news event that happened last week. There's two of them, and I'm not going to decode them, but I'm going to talk about them from a sort of my perspective as to why these things are going on. So a little while ago, we had that Coldplay concert with the cheaters, which was viral and weird. And now we have these two news stories, like the first one, like the Cincinnati Brawl, they're calling it. And I do believe that it happened on Race Street, and it's sparking a racial debate. And the debate is just ridiculous. Like, what is going on there? The other thing that happened was a shooting in New York, and that's heavily coded. So if you haven't seen that, you might want to take a stab at decoding that. We were doing that or my members were doing that in the Discord, which was really fascinating to see. Hello, Blood. Budo Love. I have talked to Listen More. It's tough with a 3-year-old. Good, you're still going to keep posting, though. Look forward. Yeah, I'm going to still post. But thanks for commenting. I think this is the first time you've commented. And so appreciate you saying something. Thank you. Bomb, 33rd floor. Yeah, the shooting in New York was on the 33rd floor. So that should be right there. A waving flag for you that there's something going on here for you to pay attention to. And yeah, so so those two things happen. And then there's also the Sydney Sweeney racial thing that has come out regarding her good genes. This whole Sydney Sweeney thing is like ridiculous. So we can talk about those two things or three things if you like. So yeah, like what I see that's going on with all of that has to do with, again, pushing the divide. So this is like the counterbalance to the unification. So the more that people wake up and start unifying the opposites, the more this stuff is going to happen outside as a contrast, because it's also forcing people to notice the absurdities in this world. I mean, the people who are talking about the Sydney Sweeney stuff, they can't believe what they're seeing because it's so preposterous. Like they're bringing up references to Beyonce doing a jeans ad, and it's like, well, have people forgotten that Beyonce was doing a jeans ad not long ago? And they brought up Brooke Shields, and they brought up this plus size woman who was Black, who was promoting Calvin Klein underwear some time ago. So they're seeing this as a contrast to the woke agenda, and this again dynamic about making this into something political, making this into something bigger, making this into something racial and woke and non-woke. The polarities are clashing big time. Red Herring Media, aloha, blessings to true love. Thank you very much. Appreciate you commenting and wishing me well. I wish you well too. So yeah, the dynamic of the polarities between those two sides, like again, like with the Coldplay thing, that was bringing up issues about cheating, and it was bringing and also the other thing to do with what's going on now is the T app stuff. We'll talk about that too. Because the issues about cheating regarding the Coldplay CEO and how everybody is looking outside of themselves and pointing the fingers at these people, but not looking at themselves and how they behave and how this reflects on them, because that's what it is. All of this is a mirror to get you to reflect and take a look at your own life. And so you got the cheaters and the people who are trying to avoid looking at themselves, wanting these people to be taken down, held accountable, and these people saying, well, the CEO needs to be fired, the HR woman needs to be fired, I hope they get what's coming to them, that he loses half of his money, that the woman that his wife divorces him, takes him for all he's worth. All of this like revenge attitude is coming up, and it's really what it is doing. What all of this is doing is showing people's true colors, showing people's it's putting the pressure on people, and you're either going to rise or you're going to get crushed. And most people are getting crushed. Most people are showing their horrible side. They're not able to alchemize, they're not able to self-reflect, they're not able to look at how this reflects on them and how it can be a lesson to them to improve their own lives. They're constantly pointing at the mirror saying, you change, you change, you change. So the T app is also another element that has been coming up with this revenge aspect, that I'm actually horrified by what I'm seeing as a result of the T app. If you haven't heard, the T app was a dating, like it was an app for people who were dating women specifically to talk about men that they're dating to keep other women safe. And it was supposed to be to help women identify whether a man is safe or a red flag. So it's red flag, green flag. And so you have women who are sharing their perspective, and the men don't like it because they don't want women saying things about them that aren't true. Well, if it's not true, what are you worried about? Like, your character will stand on its own, but they're worried that there are women in there talking nonsense about them. And so they're asking other women to log in to spy, to report back, and finding out that they're on there. Well, if you are a man of character and you're not doing anything wrong, why would you care? Why would you even worry about it? Why would you need someone to spy? Why would you even be on there? And some people are on there with green flags, no red flags. So to me, with this whole adventure with the T app is highly reflective of what happened with Ashley Madison, and in my opinion is exactly like Ashley Madison, fake. So it's designed to stir up all of this stuff by exposing these people, and it's not everybody who's been exposed. It was only people who joined the app before February 2024. So if the app hadn't even exploded in popularity until I think about a month ago, the people who joined before 2024 could be bots, could be fake accounts, could be, anything. And then, which is what a lot of the Ashley Madison stuff was. And so now you have the same thing happening for basically the same reason. Ashley Madison was about cheaters. The T app is to out or expose people who are not treating women well. And regardless of whether it's just her perspective or her opinion, this is what we're seeing here, is a clash between perspectives and a clash between right and wrong, good and bad, and whether you're willing to take accountability or you're projecting accountability and responsibility onto other people and expecting them to take accountability for your poor actions. So in some cases, women are posting on their personal experiences, saying stupid things like, oh, well, he just ghosted me. Okay, it's not really a horrible thing, but getting ghosted is still not showing that you're a man of integrity. If you don't want to see her again, then you should probably call and tell her that. But it's now become acceptable to ghost people, but people are saying, no, it's not acceptable. My feelings were hurt because you didn't have the courtesy to tell me you didn't want to go out. You just stopped talking to me. So people don't understand that, yeah, the ghosting might be acceptable, but you're still hurting other people with that behavior. And that's like the slightest minimal infliction, and then going all the way to, SA and extremes where their lives are in danger. And that's really why the app was supposed to be serving the role it was supposed to be serving. However, it was started by a man who says that he did it to help his mother, who was dating and getting catfished and whatnot. And there's a whole other revelation behind all of the people on the team behind this app who are involved in this project, who are not all that stand up, allegedly. This is why it's reeking of Ashley Madison. Same patterns. The people involved in Ashley Madison, not all that great. you know that these people are in it for money, but I don't see how they're getting money from this T app. It was supposed to be free, but if they're collecting data and it's free, they're got to be making money somehow because they had people working for them. So who's paying for it? So where's the money coming from to run a staff of people for an app that's supposed to be free? So you got to wonder what these people are selling to make money. Also, they had a leak with all of the women's addresses, identities, all across America of the people who were posting this information. And the men's response was, serves them right because they're ruining men's reputations and doxing them. Well, they're not doxing them, they're exposing bad behavior by showing pictures. And so the men are getting upset because they don't want to take responsibility. And so they're blaming the women, and the women don't want to take responsibility. So they're blaming the men. And so we have this ping pong finger pointing back and forth between them. And it's like, okay, so where does this end? So now the men feel justified. I mean, some of the comments from people who are talking about this, it feels that the men feel justified in what has happened to these women, and because they feel like they shouldn't be held responsible, because they shouldn't be exposed this way. But that's what's going to happen because the truth is coming out. All of this stuff is here to expose the truth, to make you hold yourself accountable, make you take responsibility. And if you're not going to, all you're going to do is point your finger at the mirror and tell somebody else, you have to do it. You have to do it, until it comes back to you and you realize, no, I'm the one who has to do it. So that's why all of this is happening. I'm going to go to the comments for a second. P, hello, scorn society. Yeah, exactly. Like, it's showing how these people are hurt and taking it out on other people. They're not taking responsibility for their behavior. Tend to your own garden. Even something as simple as ghosting. Show some respect to somebody that you showed interest in and tell them, I'm sorry, but I've started dating somebody else and I can't see you either. You know, if I broke up with somebody, I called him and I said, listen, I can't see you anymore. I made sure that I tended to his feelings so that he didn't feel like I didn't care about him, because I did, unless he was a jerk and he was mean to me. But I would tell him, I was like, well, that behavior was not nice. I don't appreciate how you treated me, or if somebody was nice and it's not going to go anywhere. I was honest with him and told him, it's like, this is not going anywhere. But not all the time was that reciprocated. And I understand why, because it's not easy to have those types of conversations. But sorry, you're an adult. You have to take responsibility. If you're going to interact with somebody and you decide you're not going to anymore, that's part of the responsibility of interacting with other people. So, yeah, I get it. It's hard. There's complications. It's not always straightforward. It's not always cut and dried, but that's why this is happening. And the T app getting exposed, these people, some of the things that are coming out of the men is disgusting. And some of the women are on the men's side too. But the men are not only on the side of the people who exposed these women, but they're also saying horrible things about the women. There's a website where you can rank the women who are on the site by voting and clicking on their pictures by how attractive or not attractive they are, which is disgusting, which is also exposing the reason why we needed an app like this in the first place, because you have this dynamic where men only, these types of men only judge women by their appearance, and the disgusting behavior about how they are demeaning women and calling these women ugly. There's plenty of beautiful women on there, and they're minimizing them by picking a picture of someone, which again, I don't think that these are necessarily real people. They're picking pictures of women off of there who are the most unflattering pictures that you could choose to try to prove their point that these are just scorned women who have nothing better to do and couldn't possibly find somebody, and trying to make it all about the fact that these women couldn't get anybody, so they're just upset and taking it out on men. But that's not the case. There are plenty of attractive women on there. So, that kind of behavior is being exposed, and it's gross. It's gross. It's exposing the awful disgustingness of humanity from all sides. Same with this Cincinnati Brawl. The Cincinnati Brawl is exposing the racism, and the Sydney Sweeney stuff is exposing the racism. It is ugly, but it has to be done. Otherwise, we're not going to take responsibility. Same with the Epstein stuff. It's exposing people and their need for other people to take accountability without looking at themselves and saying, well, where am I not taking accountability? How could I be a better person? Red herring media does seem that way. Alchemize, self-reflect, and a story. Yeah, exactly. Red herring media, it's because their untransmuted unconsciousness triggers me at times. So this is totally an individual process to escape this duality pendulum swing. Absolutely. It's like all of this is intended to expose like where we need to heal, where we need to alchemize, what we need to confront. And maybe it's not necessarily you personally, but it is showing collectively in this world what created this society that we live in the first place. This sort of lack mentality, this me, you hurt me, the externalization, the lack of love, the lack of responsibility, accountability, and blame shifting, moving the goalpost to say, well, it's not about me, it's all about you. You did this to me, and it's your fault that I'm like this. It's your fault that I'm doing these things. It's your fault that I have this opinion. It's your fault that I said this about you. It's when you're in it, it makes sense because you're in the 3D perspective and you think that these things are happening to you. But once you get out of it and you can see it from a different perspective and you're in a sort of 5D perspective, you can see, no, it's happening for you. It's happening to help you. And you get out of that victim mentality of being victim to the 3D. So, it's not about victim blaming. Like, again, it's about taking control. It's about getting out of that pattern of looking outside of yourself and saying, well, this is why I'm like this. This is why I reacted like this. This is why this is happening in my life. And it's a hard road. It is not easy to get out of that pattern of thinking. And you're going to keep finding things that come up in your life that you have to deal with in order to disentangle yourself from the 3D, from the things that you believe have control over you. So let's go to the chat. P, 30 days today, I said goodbye to the man I've known my whole life. My father will go the rest of my lifetime missing him. The only comfort I have is he's with my mom again. Love is the ultimate. Sorry to hear that. Sorry to hear that, P. That's really hard to deal with. Sorry for your loss, Anna. Yes, thank you for showing some support for P. Hey, everybody in the chat, show some love for P. Red herring media. People can be so cruel, including myself. I take accountability for that. This is why I steer away from intimate relationships. I'm a walking sack of unresolved troubles. Yeah, like since you mentioned it, I'm just going to use this as a jumping off point. You don't have to take it personally. But it's healthy to recognize that, and it's healthy to, retreat, to tend to your issues, because it's not helpful to be engaging with people while you're in that state. And hopefully you'll be able to reconcile whatever those issues are in order to have healthier relationships and better relationships. And if you can't, maybe that's not something you can accomplish in this lifetime, then maybe that's something you do in your next lifetime. But yeah, ultimately, that's something that you came here to resolve. So it's, again, if it doesn't happen this lifetime, that's okay. If it happens next lifetime, or even the lifetime after that, that's okay too. But we all came here to be able to resolve that issue. This is a world without true love. It has true love that we have to find. And we came here, we're heartbroken. We have to resolve those issues in order to find it again. Coco, I watched the movie. I saw the TV glow. It's pretty good. Okay. Kind of off topic, but cool. Yeah. Tried watching that. I had a hard time getting into it, but I'm glad you thought it was good. I wanted to like it. I wanted to watch it because it looked like it was right up my alley, but it was a painful start. But yeah. So yeah, like there's all of these events that are happening all at once. So going back to the Cincinnati Brawl, that's also bringing up some ugly stuff. Like the mayor of Cincinnati had said some off-color things, saying that I think he was the mayor. The guy's name is Lynch. So like these people, their names are very on the nose. He wants I think he's the mayor. I might be mistaken, but he wants the white people who were attacked to be arrested because the story keeps changing. Apparently, initially the way that things were going is that they were saying that it was the white people were causing the conflict, and so this was retaliation, but there's no justification for what they did to these people. And they were mobbed, basically. So whatever it was, whatever sparked the whole thing, and it doesn't validate what they did. And also, the goalpost shifting is interesting because they were saying that the white people started it, so that there's a clip of what happened leading up to it. How convenient, of this guy who got beat up the most. I think he's Russian. How interesting. There's a lot of Russian stuff coming up, like the Obama stuff with Russia, the controversy regarding the election with Russia, and then there's the also the earthquake, which was the highest earthquake on the Richter scale, I think, in recorded history, 8.8. And so now we got this guy who got beat up, and he's Russian. And so he got beat up, and they're blaming him because he slapped the guy in red. So again, red is associated with Russia. But if you go back to the beginning of that video, it shows that he got sucker punched in the head by the guy in red. So who knows exactly where this started. Regardless, it does not equate to what these people did to him or the woman who got punched in the face. So anyway, all of this has stirred up quite a lot of racial anger, and it's disproportionate to what has been going on. But a lot of what's going on, again, like with the pendulum swing, you see a lot of people who are fed up with the wokeness, fed up with the imbalance. A lot of people are fed up with being forced to swallow certain beliefs and certain ways of thinking. And so now there's this sort of uprising of people who have been kind of quiet for some time to say, I'm not putting up with this anymore. And that's what this is for. That's what this is all about. It's like, it's not about the pendulum shifting. It's about not swinging with the pendulum and recognizing that that's all they do. All of this stuff is intended to keep you swinging on the pendulum. When are you going to stop swinging on the pendulum? When are you going to recognize they're just toying with you? When are you going to recognize that this is supposed to help you detach from the pendulum? Red herring. True love is the basis. Otherwise, what's the point? Keep striving for it. Exactly. Thank you, Red herring. Seidelbaum, there is a really good news TV show out there called The Institute. Oh, thanks for letting us know. Where is that? Where can you watch that? Wookie, Russia represents the East, the divine feminine woman in red dress. Yes, thanks, Wookie. Mickey Mouse Operations, greetings all. Hello, Mickey Mouse. Welcome, glad you're here. Esoterically referenced in the movie The Gorge. Yes, indeed. Yeah, so it's pulling the attention of the feminine, the East, accessing the East, the right hemisphere of the brain, or what is stored in the right hemisphere of the brain. So yeah, there's a lot going on. And the Sydney Sweeney stuff is weird too. So if you're not familiar with that, she was advertising these jeans. And, it's funny because, we had the 4 years of wokeness, maybe more. And then it's now swinging back to the other side where what used to be normal now seems weird to certain people who swallowed the wokeness stuff. And there's some people who are just not swayed either way. They're just like, whatever. But the people on the woke side are up in arms, making a big noise about the fact that she's saying that she has good genes because she's blonde-haired, blue-eyed, and she's attractive. And then, some people have noted that what do woke people have against attractive people? Because anytime someone who is conventionally attractive is put in the spotlight, they act out, they lash out. And it's like, well, why do you have a problem with attractive people? What the hell? It's almost like they feel unattractive, so they have to lash out at people who are attractive as compensation instead of working on themselves so that they can make the most of what they have. Why wouldn't you try to be, if you want to be conventionally attractive, work out, diet, color your hair, cut your hair, dress better, like whatever it is that you feel that you lack, go after it instead of, again, pointing the finger at other people and trying to tear them down because Sydney Sweeney has good genes. Like, why does this bother you? Why do you care so much? What is the problem here? It seems weird to me. Like, yes, everybody's beautiful in their own way and expressing their individuality. But if you are not happy with yourself, then you need to do something about it to be happy with yourself, not try to tear down other people who are happy with themselves. So whether that means if you are unconventionally attractive or unconventionally unattractive, then you own that and you are you. And then that makes you beautiful. So it doesn't mean that you have to be cookie cutter or look like just like everybody else. You own your individuality and you be you. And that's what makes you beautiful. But when you are lashing out at other people and saying, well, I can't be like them, therefore I'm going to hate them. And then all people will see is your hatred. All people will see is your anger and your resentment and how much you hate those people for having what you can't have or think you can't have or don't want, and you reject it. When you reject something in society, you're denying access to it for yourself. You're saying that's not me and it's never going to be me, so I hate it. Well, you're hating an aspect of yourself. You've just shut yourself off from the possibility of having it. This is like people who are angry about not having a boyfriend or a girlfriend, and they want a boyfriend or girlfriend, but they go out and anytime they see a happy couple, they snicker, they sneer, they make comments, they try to tear them down, they criticize them, and they say, well, I can't have it, so they can't have it either. You're not going to get a love relationship with that kind of perspective. And so if you're constantly looking outside of you and hating on what you can't have, you're preventing yourself from having it. Obviously, the gateway to having it is by knocking that wall down and finding a way to have it for yourself in your own way. In your own way. So you're not like tearing other people down. You can support those people because them having what you want isn't going to take it from you. It's actually a good thing. It shows you that because if they can have it, so can you. But yeah, the Sydney Sweeney thing is just like, obviously this is a very complex issue. There's, underlying stories and deep-rooted trauma and all sorts of unconscious behaviors and thought patterns that we're not even aware of as to why we think this way and behave this way. And you're not even aware of any of it because you think that this is how the world works. But once you uncover all of those things, you understand better that this is just my perspective, and my perspective can change. And then that puts the power back in your own hands. Got some comments here. Coco, yes, the pendulum swing. Yes, but does she have a good personality? I got no problem with attractiveness. Well, I don't know. I mean, the whole point of the genes thing is to do with what she looks like. And she's kind of made herself into a sex symbol. And if you value good personality, that's a subjective thing, just as attractiveness is. And the ad isn't about her personality. The ad is about her fitting in her genes and having good genes. So, if it was about personality, it would be about personality. I mean, I would argue she does have a good personality. She's doing quite well in Hollywood. But like, again, define what a good personality is. So what I think might be a good personality might be different from what you think is a good personality. She might be a very nice person. She seems like a nice person, but those are subjective traits depending on your perspective. Character is greater than vanity. Yeah, but again, that's a judgment. And are we talking about vanity, or are we talking about self-acceptance? Are we talking about celebrating your individuality, which involves physical appearance? Rejecting your physical appearance and calling it vanity is a denial of yourself. So you can just say to yourself, well, at least I have a good personality. At least I have good character. I may not be attractive. Okay, that's great. But you can be both, and you don't have to demean being attractive or beautiful in order to boost the value that you put on having a good character or having a good personality. You can have both. So it's just your value equation that you've told yourself that if I can't have that, well, then at least I have this. So why limit yourself? That's just a story you're telling yourself. Vanity can be detrimental. Are we talking about vanity? Are we talking about like losing yourself in your physical image? Or are we talking about, taking pride in your appearance and looking after yourself and looking after your body and being comfortable with your body and being comfortable with what you look like? There's very different things. And some people will say that that's vanity. Some people will say that being physically fit and being healthy and being attractive is vanity. But again, it depends on who that's coming from. And I think that's a limitation, because if you're looking after yourself, you've been given this body, this temple to live in, and you're supposed to look after it. And yes, there's extremes, and those extremes can be toxic. To which extent does not equate to looking after yourself, because if you're using steroids, then you're poisoning your body. That's not tending to your garden. That's not looking after your temple. That's abusing yourself. That's taking what you were given and trying to make it into something that it isn't, and trying to warp it into something you think is acceptable. And you're trying to find value in who you are in the physical only, because you don't feel good enough. So you need steroids, you need to have bigger muscles, you need to be working out 4 or 5 times a day, 4 or 5 hours a day. You need to have a strict diet. You can't veer off of that diet. You punish yourself, you abuse yourself, you talk badly to yourself if you miss a workout. You have Botox and injections and, facelifts, and you're mad at yourself if you gain a few pounds, and you hate on yourself if you're out of shape. Those are all toxic behaviors, whether you see them or not. And that's all vanity. Just being attractive does not make you vain. What makes you vain is how you talk to yourself and how you treat yourself as a result of what you see in the mirror. That's vanity. If you hinge all of your worth on your image and your presentation to the world, that's vanity. So it's ego. It's hinging yourself on the 3D, the external world, and saying, I'm not worthy of anything unless I look a certain way, unless I behave a certain way, unless I have certain things. That's all vanity, that's all ego. And it can go the opposite way too. You can have detrimental ego, detrimental vanity, where you're still focused on the external in a negative way by eating unhealthily, not exercising, not taking care of your body, gaining too much weight, living in unhealthy habits. All of those things, like abusing and hurting yourself, all of that is vanity. It's just in a negative form. So yeah, it's a very complex issue. But basically, you're just attaching all of your worth on the mirror. Whoa, lots of comments here. Because of the intensity of fame and all that, I think we need more empathy for famous people because of what they may have been groomed to deal with. Fame is like the ultimate attention drug. I would not take fame like that well. Yeah. Fame is, not that I know from personal experience or anything, but from, obviously, we've all seen famous people. We're familiar with famous people, and we're familiar with the fallout of what it means to be famous. And on smaller scale, we're familiar with the fallout of having people talk about us, gossip about us, say things that aren't true. We're familiar with people reacting to our success or our failure. You're still in the public eye to some extent with friends, family, coworkers, that sort of thing, on a small scale. So magnify that, and that's what it's like to be famous. When the whole world knows who you are and knows everything you do, then that is a lot of pressure. And so, yeah, to have some empathy and understanding for what it must be like for people who are in the public eye, I think is a valuable trait. And a lot of people will say, I mean, even being on YouTube is an aspect of being in the public eye. And a lot of people will say, well, you put yourself out there, you're opening yourself up to criticism and commentary. That doesn't justify people being assholes. And yet they think that it does. It's like, well, you put yourself out there, then I'm free to comment. I'm free to express my opinion no matter how awful it is. So it's like you're blaming the person who put their lives in the public eye for how awful you are as a person and how you choose to behave. And you're not taking any accountability for what you say or how you behave in response to that person's presence. And that's really all it is. They're just in your presence, and your response to them being there is your issue, not theirs. And you projecting your hatred or your animosity or your vanity or your lack of self-worth onto someone just because they're in the public eye is a reflection on you, not on them. They're just holding a mirror up to you, and how you choose to respond to them is about you. It's not about them. So, yeah, celebrities like Sydney Sweeney holding up a mirror for being proud of what she looks like, for having good genes, for being okay and comfortable with being a sex symbol, that she's decided to be a sex symbol, and she's using it to her advantage, and it makes people uncomfortable. I mean, she's a beautiful woman, but she's not the most beautiful woman in the world. Neither was Marilyn Monroe. And Marilyn Monroe capitalized off of her looks, made the most of it, knew what sold, knew how to become famous, knew how to make the most of it for herself, and it made people uncomfortable. So Sydney Sweeney's doing that now. And she's not backing down, which I admire. I admire that she's not backing down. She's standing on her ground, on her position and her decision to do this ad because she made that choice. I would have less respect for her if she did back down to criticism. She chose to be in that ad. She made the decision to do that campaign and do it that way. So she should stand down and say, I'm proud of what I did, and I'm not going to change it, and I'm not going to apologize for it just because some people are upset with it. And those people have every right to be upset with it if they want to be upset with it. But why are you upset with it? You're upset with it because it reflects on something that touches a sore spot with you and you don't like it. And another thing that's come up with all of this is there are a lot of white women who are hating on Sydney Sweeney for this for the wrong reasons. They're trying to campaign for Black people. It's not their right. It's not their situation. Like, obviously, a lot of these people, I think, are just put out there. They're controlled. Like, most of this stuff is coming from a controlled, centralized feed. And that's what sparked this whole controversy and conversation to begin with. And just like the Coldplay thing, like all of this is, it wouldn't have generated this much noise and controversy without help. And yet, there's a lot of white women who are saying that, oh, this is horrible and you should be upset. And why are they not choosing somebody of color? It's like, enough with the segregation, and, you're basically killing your own kind by saying this sort of thing. Why not have equality for all? Why not celebrate everybody? Why not be okay with everybody having their moment in the sun? Black, white, Asian, whatever. It doesn't matter. Everybody has the opportunity to participate in life equally, and they don't need you defending them. They don't need you fighting for them. Stay in your own lane and deal with your own stuff. But hey, uh yeah. Okay, so yes, these descriptive terms when it comes to vanity, and then best not to lose ourselves in terminology. For sure, but you have to also understand what is meant by vanity and what we're actually talking about, because if we don't explain what we're talking about, then it's just a word that is open to interpretation. Yes, my inner self is not in a good state, but my outer self is very acceptable, to say the least. So that's good. Sadly, body dysmorphia is big business in America. Yeah, it's big business everywhere. And they created it. They created it to sell products that we don't need. So they feed you junk food to make you overweight, and then they sell you Ozempic to solve the weight issue, and then they make you feel that you're less than by showing you super skinny models and having a unrealistic beauty standard of all of these say not females posing as females, or even not males. Same thing happens with men too. Men have body issues just as much as women, and posting these unrealistic beauty standards on both sides, telling each other that this is what men want and this is what women want and this is what you got to look like in order to attract a mate, and you got to have a mate, and you're a loser if you don't have a mate and you don't look this way. And so then they sell more products that you don't need because you don't feel good enough. So they created the problem, and then they provide the solution. And basically, the best solution is just to focus within and find out who you are and what makes you happy and what you want. And yeah, those products are all available to you if you want them and need them to make you who you want to be. So as long as you're not hinging on somebody else's opinion and making it your own, then you're okay. But for most of us, for the most part, our opinions are not our own. Our beliefs are not our own. They've been crafted and cultivated by media and advertising. I still managed to get a job, which is good by me. Sydney Sweeney is pretty cute. I'll give you that. Yeah, and I think Sydney Sweeney has done a very good job of cultivating her image. Very good job. And also a very good job of making a lot of money off of it. She's a very savvy businesswoman. She's a smart woman. She knows what she's doing. And picking this campaign, she knows what she's doing. There's only one race, P. Yeah, human race. It's not even a race because that implies competition between different people. Exactly. Exactly. It was like, well, what is the human race? Human race is the race to ascension. What are we racing for? What is the end game? Well, good question. Yeah. Well, the end game is to get home. But yeah, this is why this is coming up right now, because it's here to draw your attention to the fact that how crazy this place is, what kind of nonsense we deal with, the absurdity of, hating on each other for stupid, superficial stuff that doesn't even matter. Like, why? For the most part, if you go out in the real world and you talk to people in the real world, not on television, not in a world where it's controlled by, writers and directors and news anchors, and you go out in the real world and you interact with people in your vicinity, most people don't care what color you are. Most people don't care what you look like. They don't care. They just care about the kind of person you are. Are you nice to me? Do you treat me well? Do we have something in common? Do we relate to each other? For the most part. Yeah, once in a while, certain things will come up where people uh, have issues with other people because of how they look or how they present themselves. But usually that's either coming from media, or that's coming from family issues, or it's coming from your culture. It's coming from some story you told yourself, some experience you had, and then you told yourself a story. But for the most part, most people are open to talking to other people regardless. And if you prove yourself to be a bad person or incompatible or not somebody you relate to, you just move along. But most people want to get along. Most people have this need for communication and relating to others. And so, this need to divide all of the time, it doesn't really come from people out there in the real world. That's my experience anyway. What do you think? So, we're getting to the end of the hour. I'm going to ask if there's any last minute things you want to talk about before I wrap this up. This being the last live stream, but in case not, I want to thank you for participating today. I want to thank you for being here. I want to thank you for participating in all the live streams that you've been here. I've really enjoyed talking to you. And, I will miss it. I really will. And, that's why I came back in the first place, because I love interacting with you. And like I say, who knows? I might drop in, I might start up again. But for now, I think this is the best decision. And we'll see how it goes. But I hope you continue to watch the videos that are to come. And if you're not on my other social media, there's Instagram, TikTok, and Twitter, as well as my podcast and my membership. So if you join the Labyrinth, get access to all my content and a variety of other things, and participate in the change that's coming. So, P, true love you, girl. Thank you very much. Love you too. And yeah, I just really enjoyed getting to know all of you and talking to you on a regular basis and hearing what you have to say, hearing your perspectives. So please continue to leave your comments on my videos, because I want to hear from you. I want to hear what you have to say. I want to hear what you see, how you see the world, and your experiences. And some of you have reached out very kindly to tell me how my channel has helped you, and I really appreciate hearing that. There is a testimonials link on my website. There's a whole page of testimonials, but if you have a testimonial you want to send me, I'd really appreciate it. I can post it on my website. But it's really nice when I hear from you to tell me how much my work has helped you, because I don't often hear it. It's kind of like here and there, kind of drop comments, but people who take the time to actually sit down and write an email to tell me their stories, really appreciate the time that you take to send me those sorts of things. And I think sometimes people say to me that they've been meaning to tell me for some time, so it's almost like that they assume that I would know somehow. So uh, I don't know unless you tell me. So it's nice to hear how I've helped you. And yeah, I wish you all well. So if you've got nothing else to talk about, I'm gonna close out and look forward to seeing you all in the future. Thanks again. Trixie, hi. Good luck on your next move. Thank you. All right. Thank you very much. Bye, everybody. Love you all.